Only place that's making this artisanal small batch chocolate.
For the best American sandwich on wheels, the grilled cheese truck.
Our signature sandwich started to rattle around in my brain. Why isn't there mac and cheese in a grilled cheese sandwich?
It is the most unique grilled cheese. The Gorbals.
Only at the Gorbals you can find things as unique as crispy chicken skin sandwiches.
It's such a unique eat that it's worth making a trip.
Porcino Cantina.
It's just like taking a piece of bread and spreading your favorite topping on it over and over and over again.
Each one is just like blows your mind. It's just so electric.
You cannot go to Chicago without eating in one of Rick Bayless's restaurants.
Rick Bayless is kind of the dean of Chicago chefs right now. He's been around a heck of a long time, more than 2 decades, and he's really a pioneer in the U.S. in terms of serving authentic regional Mexican cuisine.
He's defined Mexican cooking in America.
I spent years traveling around Mexico, and I wanted to bring back those very unique flavors of the Mexican regional kitchens.
His newest baby is XOCO, which is wildly popular.
I've been 3 times, so I know what I like. I like the food, it's good.
XOCO is a small restaurant, quick service that really celebrates the great, in-your-face flavors of Mexican street food, but maybe not exactly what you would expect.
In every culture, there's some sort of sandwich, and in Mexico, they have what's called the torta.
It's all about the tortas, and it's all about the caldo. The tortas are the sandwich, the caldo is the soup.
The tortas are really more than a sandwich. I mean, by definition, a torta is a Mexican sandwich, but Rick is really trying to elevate that.
What Rick is doing at XOCO is he's taking the torta and he's using only the best ingredients, you know, sourcing from local farms, all the best meat producers.
We're so lucky here to have a pig farmer that can do suckling pigs for us, and 12 months a year. He brings us about a dozen a week.
He is creating this new, how would I say it? It's like new authentic. It's nuevo authentico. It's terrible.
This is much more than just, you know, Mama's old Mexican sandwich.
One of my favorite tortas in Mexico is only made around Guadalajara, and it's called a torta ahogada, or the drowned torta. It's got a special roll that's called a birote.
One of the unique things about XOCO is the bread that Rick Bayless is using there. The bread is double-proofed over 24 hours, so it's really, really like light and airy. He cooks the pork traditional style in a large copper pot with lard. Tons of garlic, tons of Mexican spices and herbs and seasonings, and he cooks it slowly over low heat for something like 16 hours or a really, really long time.
They fill the roll with these tender pork carnitas. A little smear of beans goes in there as well. And then we top it off with pickled onions. Splash it with a really, really spicy arbol chili salsa. Pour a hot tomato broth over the whole thing. And the thing is just a work of art.
It's definitely like a 5-napkin sandwich, a 10-napkin sandwich, pork on pork on pork, and it's like a pork punch in the face, and it's so good.
Roast pork perfection has been achieved with this sandwich.
You can go get your torta, but just make sure you save room for churros.
Best part of eating there is the churros and hot chocolate.
Well, I'm a total donut freak. And when I'm in Mexico and I go to a street fair, almost always I'm looking for churros, which are the Mexican equivalent of a really good donut.
The churros is very interesting because it's essentially fried dough, but Rick, being Rick, has to really elevate that and really figure out how can I make the best churros possible.
Rick has found the perfect churro experience for his customers.
What do I like to get here? The churros.
What's so unique about it is the process and how he makes the churros. He'll toast the flour, and while he's toasting the flour, he'll pour in boiling water to make a warm dough.
They're in the fire for about 4 or 5 minutes. We fry all of our churros when they're ordered. We're going for a really golden brown outside. What you feel is the creaminess on the inside is actually a tiny bit undercooked dough.
And then we dredge them in granulated sugar. Yeah, you get the crunchiness of the sugar, but we could grind up some of our fresh ground chocolate. We could add a spark, and we could put that in with the sugar and add another layer of flavor, another dimension of taste and texture.
The cool thing about what they're doing is they're like the only place in Chicago that's making this artisanal small batch chocolate really in front of your eyes, right in front of that window on Clark Street.
Now, this is the only place in America I know of where you're going from pod to cup and customer all in one place. If that isn't unique, I don't know what is.
What he does is he roasts the beans, and he spends about 5 hours grinding the beans very slowly, gradually adding in sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. Once this chocolate is set, he lays it out into sheet pans to set and harden, and then he breaks it up, and he adds cream to make a ganache, which is a base for all of his hot chocolates.
Best thing about a hot, warm churro that's crispy on the outside and a little bit chewy and moist inside is dipping it into some thick, dark, hot chocolate.
It's everything I want in life.
XOCO, the thing that makes it unique is that it really elevates that street food. That is what he's made his mission all about now.
I mean, what's unique about this is he's been able to hybridize that sort of restaurant, street food, and quick serve casual experience into one singular restaurant. I think it's genius.
Even though it's a simple little restaurant, the ingredients that we use are so special, and the pains that we take to create each one of the dishes as perfectly as we can is something that people pick up just like that.
What makes the grilled cheese truck so unique is what they put on the outside of the bread.
At the Gorbals, he's taking matzo balls, wrapping them in bacon. Now that's not kosher.
The grilled cheese truck is in Los Angeles and is a very unique approach to grilled cheese.
The grilled cheese truck was started by Dave Donhai and Michelle Grant.
What makes the grilled cheese truck unique?
Well, we're the only one out there that's doing what we do.
Dave worked at restaurants for 30 years,
President, chef, and the big cheese.
and Michelle still works as a private chef.
She's executive officer, and she's executive officer. I don't know. No. Everyone has their idea of what the ideal grilled cheese should be, so we try and make sure that people have the opportunity to be able to make that kind of sandwich for themselves.
Suggest bacon on every sandwich we make if it was up to me.
They offer a wonderful array of different breads, be it brioche, cranberry bread, 6-grain bread, with all sorts of outrageous fillings. Any cheese, meats, pulled pork, macaroni and cheese, you name it, it's insane and it's divine.
Everything but seafood. You can pretty much throw into a grilled cheese and have some fun with it.
And I still think you can do it with seafood. We're working on it.
What makes the grilled cheese truck so unique is what they put on the outside of the bread.
This is a very unique mix. This is a mix of both butter and mayonnaise, which prevents it from burning. Raised at the smoking temperature so we can keep them on the griddle a little bit longer.
And they toast it slow and low.
It makes for a really beautiful crispy sandwich.
Cheese melts perfectly, outside gets golden brown and crispy, and then it's ready for you to dive in and take that first bite.
So the grilled cheese truck is really known for the fully loaded.
It is the ultimate grilled cheese.
Our signature sandwich was just something that started to rattle around in my brain. Just why isn't there mac and cheese in a grilled cheese sandwich?
First, you have the center, which is mac and cheese, surrounded by more cheese.
Awesome cheese, awesome cheese, awesome cheese.
Filled with pulled pork and caramelized onions.
Everything on the truck is made from scratch. Get a little bit of that on here.
And on the outside, you have French bread.
Then you take a bite and you taste macaroni and cheese. And then you taste that sharp cheddar. And then the caramelized onions. And oh my God, the pulled pork.
What is this magic?
The virgins, as we call them, when they come out to the truck and haven't seen it, the eyebrows are always raised to macaroni and cheese in a sandwich. Nobody's gone away
sense.
saying, oh, that is just horrible. It's been a big thumbs up since it's first hit the griddle.
Usually you get this really good food at fancy restaurants and things. It's kind of a twist to be able to order in a parking lot.
If you still have room for dessert, you have to try the dessert melt.
Inside of brioche is chocolate, bananas with rum pureed into it, marshmallow spread, and they just create this harmonious, sweet treat.
You get kind of a s'more around the campfire feel to it.
It's like the best s'more with banana in it. It is so, so good.
And if you can just think of like a dream sandwich, like this would be it. It knocks the ice cream sandwich out of the park.
It is the most unique grilled cheese.
Order for carrot!
Grilled cheese sandwich is the ultimate comfort food.
It strikes a chord with everyone. It brings you back to your childhood.
You watch these people walk away with stacks of these grilled cheese sandwiches. Everybody gets into this stuff.
Here's a venue where they can go and have a phenomenal, unique meal and still enjoy quality product put out, with a lot of love.
I hope they drive this truck to New York City because it's a long haul to Los Angeles for grilled cheese.
One of the most unique dishes is what he calls the GLT. It's a chicken skin sandwich.
Crostini is plural for crostino, which is just basically crouton in Italian.
It's like 2 or 3 bites of perfection. The Gorbals is Elan Hall's new restaurant in downtown Los Angeles.
It's this new place that people hang out in. They try new food. It's the most comfortable new restaurant that I've been in lately.
It's a really unique place because it's not like your traditional restaurant. It's set in the lobby of this residential building. It's almost like a hidden speakeasy.
The Gorbals, a strange name for a restaurant.
The Gorbals is a neighborhood in Glasgow that my father grew up in right after World War II.
Most chefs take cue from their heritage growing up and influence from their family and what they learned, and it seems like Elan has done the same, but with a major twist.
My food is a mix of the way I grew up, my father being from Glasgow, my mother being from Jerusalem, just all the ingredients that I would have and all the spices I'd have in the house, combined with all the fresh produce and meat, poultry, and seafood I've been getting living here in California.
It's really interesting what he's doing at the Gorbals because it's basically his playroom. There are no more than 15 menu items on the menu at any point in time.
There are lots of great restaurants in LA, but I feel that only at the Gorbals you can find things as unique as crispy chicken skin sandwiches.
One of Elan's signature dishes is the GLT, which is the grievance lettuce tomato.
Grievance is, some people call it, their Jewish grandmother's bacon. And my grandfather used to be a butcher, and he would always save the skins from the chicken and all the chicken fat and cook them down till it got really crispy.
What he does is he takes chicken skin and spreads it out, seasons it with salt and pepper, and bakes it on a sheet tray till it becomes shatteringly crisp.
We're gonna take the skin from the chicken, we're gonna place it on like bacon.
Slaps it between 2 pieces of rye bread with a ripe tomato, some lettuce, and mayonnaise.
And this is the GLT.
It's just like a BLT, except you're eating chicken skin. Now, chicken fat versus pork fat, clearly 2 different animals, but equally delicious.
When you bite into this, you have this layer of crunchy, beautiful golden brown chicken skin, which is the ultimate goal when you're making a chicken, but now you have it on your sandwich.
It had a nice crunchy texture to it that you wouldn't really anticipate in a sandwich. So that was very unique and it was very surprising.
Another great thing that they have is matzo balls.
The first matzo ball I ever had was definitely from my grandma's hands. She would love to make these really dense, heavy matzo balls that would sit at the bottom of your stomach. Delicious, but you could throw them and hit people in the head with them. This is the matzo ball mix, which has matzo meal, eggs, seltzer water, baking soda, and a little bit of pork fat.
He's taking matzo balls that he learned from his grandmother, but he's wrapping them in bacon. Now that's not kosher.
It started as a joke, but then I made one and I thought it was really delicious. It's 2 homey traditional things put together. It's very comforting to me.
Anything wrapped in bacon has got to be better, right?
We put them on top of a horseradish aioli that's colored with a little bit of fresh beets, and then we shave some fresh horseradish on top to finish it off.
The matzo ball reminded me of something that I used to have when I was younger, like a cornbread.
I tell you, they're like 4 little bites of love on a plate. You get them, you pop them in your mouth, and then you order another plate. Just so good.
The potato latkes at the Gorbals is also not your traditional latke. It has an accompaniment of smoked applesauce, and it's topped with fried sage.
Ilan knows how to play on your taste buds. It's an amazing concept to take sweet, sour, savory from each element.
It's such a unique eat that it's worth making the trip.
Who doesn't like a potato pancake? I love potato pancakes.
I think the Gorbals is unique because it's a place where I really have no restrictions or rules to the food that I make.
When you come into the restaurant, it's not about the decor, it's not about the ambiance. That means it's all about the food.
And it's a great place to just go with your friends and hang out and like get some beers and eat some bacon wrapped matzo balls and some chicken skin sandwiches and hopefully not go home 20 pounds heavier.
What makes Crostino truly unique is they have this crostini bar. It's 15 to 20 different crostini.
To find out more about the restaurants in this episode, go to cookingchanneltv.com.
Crostino Cantina is this unique cantina in the West Village by Jason Denton.
We specialize in, call it roadside Italian cuisine. We really try to pull the flavors from Italy using the ingredients here in New York City.
What makes Crostino truly unique is they have this crostini bar. It's the first part of the menu. It's 15 to 20 different crostini.
Crostini is plural for crostino, which is just basically crouton in Italian. And it's a larger crouton, usually made out of a baguette that's toasted and then topped with anything you can imagine.
Crostini are so associated with Corsino that people usually mispronounce the name of the restaurant Crostino.
Yeah.
As we have.
You have.
It's great. They have all these different varieties, some with meat, some with seafood, a lot of vegetarian options.
If I had my way, I think they should add split hot dog and Swiss cheese crostini with a smear of mustard. Or...
No, that's French.
Well, they've got a border with Italy.
What's great about Jason is he just goes to the market, sees what's fresh, what's delicious, what looks great, and uses bread as a canvas for it.
I think what's unique is as you go to the market in the morning and you come in here for dinner, chances are that vegetable that you saw is going to be on your plate.
One of his signature crostinis that he does is sweet pea and pecorino. He'll take green market peas and he'll mash them raw and mix them with a little bit of olive oil, some shaved pecorino, salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Very, very unique.
People, once they have one of these, generally they order another one.
Each one is just like, blows your mind. It's just so electric in the mouth.
Less than 5 ingredients from the market this morning, and it's delicious.
A really unique vegetable is ramps. Ramps are a wild onion that have such a short season that chefs go crazy for them when they're here.
What they've done is they've taken that really sort of pungent, oniony flavor, tamed it down with a little bit of charcoal, and just add the creaminess of the ricotta, the spiciness of the chili flakes. I mean, it's really, in 1 or 2 bites, it's a perfect bite.
And this is the ramp and fresh ricotta crostini.
Great place to go after work. Definitely go early because, it's a mob scene.
It's a great place to go with a group of friends and just share everything, and that's how I always like to eat.
I think people love to get different flavors in one meal, and you can do that with crostini. And it's just like taking a piece of bread and spreading your favorite topping on it over and over and over again.
Hopefully we have our finger on the pulse. We're really looking to give people a great time.
It's alluring, it's candlelit, and you just want to go inside and have the ultimate midnight snack.
Camera goes on, he gets all cute and shiny.
Food Woody.
Oh, you are in deep trouble.
We've traveled across America to find the most unique eats.
You want adventure? X marks the spot.
X Marks is an alternative dining experience.
Brains seem a little bit weird and scary. They are weird and scary.
But they're delicious.
You want adventure? Climb up to the World Fair bus.
This is gourmet street food done extremely well.
Literally, we took a bus and built a restaurant inside.
You want adventure? Eat beef 7 ways at Ma Pesh.
I was not interested in the tongue salad, but it was amazing.
These are unique eats. Chicago has this really interesting movement right now, the Underground Supper Club.
They are meant for the most adventurous foodies.
It's like a book club, but for your belly.
X Marks Chicago is one of those experiences.
The day before the event, you get an email, tells you where to go, and they're very exciting. They're really kind of James Bond about it.
X Marks Chicago is headed up by chefs Abe Conlon, John Bowers, and Adrian Lowe.
X Marks is whatever you want it to be. It is a supper club. It is not a restaurant. Some people call it underground.
Every dinner that we ever do is truly unique.
It's culinary spontaneity.
They've created this website where people go sign up. There's a couple of criteria. They'll say, for example, we might be serving tongue, we might be serving brain. Some of the chilies we have might be face-meltingly hot. So they put that warning out there. This is not for amateurs.
We had somebody cry once. It was because it was a pretty hot dish.
You never know what you're gonna get, and they never know what they're gonna give you.
How we create the menus that we do at X Marks is pure, spontaneous inspiration from anything and everything. Oh, son. There it is.
X Marks really tries to focus on what is local and seasonal. There's an X Marks dinner, which is about 4 or 5 courses. Dinners typically range about $70 to $80 a head.
The meal that we're preparing now is for our dinner called May Market Mayhem, kind of a best of markets in the city.
The adventure for the trio that runs X Marks doesn't begin at the dinner. It doesn't begin in the kitchen. It actually begins when they go shopping.
Devon Avenue is Little India in Chicago. It's the perfect kind of street for young adventurous chefs to find things that really get their fancy.
Can we get some goat ribs?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Adios.
Coming to Chinatown is an adventure because you never know what you're gonna get. You never know what's behind those doors. You never know what live beastly characters swimming around in those tanks.
You guys have duck tongue? We're looking for duck tongue.
I'm not sure what you do with duck tongues normally. Maybe a salad?
And you do have the duck tongues? This is what we've been looking for right here. The elusive duck tongue.
They do all this great shopping, they gather all the ingredients, and they take it back to this secret kitchen, and then they just go to town.
Give me like 1 minute because Ben's still peeling potatoes over here.
It's a race against the clock with these 3 chefs in the kitchen right now.
We're moving around, we're getting our stuff done, just knocking out our prep list. We're gonna be ready to rock by the time these guys get here.
Before each course, Abraham tells his guests what to expect.
Ladies and gentlemen, first soft-shell crab of the season right here.
That wonderful soft-shell crab, pan-fried, then quartered a little bit. Serve a little peppermint, a little bit of red pepper aioli.
You get all those floral and spicy aromas in there. Truly unique and interesting dish that was successful.
Stir-fried duck tongue.
I'm originally from Kansas, and that's not actually the culinary style, I think, of the prairie.
So the stir-fried duck tongues are served with these homemade wonton-style noodles, which John does by hand.
99% of the time, every single thing we do is made from scratch, from bread to noodles to all our sauces, stocks, and everything.
Really, I mean, you think about labor-intensive. They really put the effort into making these noodles.
I applaud you, John Bauer. So So the next dish, which was truly unique and adventurous, was the veal brains.
Brains seem a little bit weird and scary. They are weird and scary. These are actually going to be nice, clean veal brains.
When you cut into the salad, there's this like surprise underneath this mound of salad is the brains. It's almost like this warm, eggy dressing for your salad.
And on the side, a little bit of fish with that poached quail egg, this little artist's palette, beautiful little assembly of different flavors and different textures.
I actually consider myself a pretty adventurous eater, but I've never had brains before, and I've always wanted to try them. And then I got to eat his.
Tamarind glazed goat rib.
Tamarind being that sort of exotic fruit from, you see a lot in Asian and Indian cuisines. It's got that natural sweet and sour flavor to it. And it just created the most delicious glaze for these really gamey, rich, meaty ribs. To take it to the other extreme, now they have this beautiful filet of grouper. And while there are Asian ingredients involved, it's more of a classic French preparation that they're doing. They took the grouper and they had the braised pork belly and they stuffed it with the braised pork belly and then just simply sauteed it and served it with this purple yam mash.
Grouper stuffed with pork belly? Delicious.
The grouper stuffed pork belly, it was, I've never seen anything like that. Just fantastic.
It is really remarkable what they're able to do, not only in terms of the plating and the service, but the quality of the food, and the flavors actually work.
It all ends up making for such a great adventurous experience for the diner.
The menu is never the same, and the ingredients are always the freshest that they can possibly find. Whether they have to go to the ends of the earth to find them, or the ends of Chicago, rather. I think tonight went fantastic. We're lucky it went as smoothly as it did.
This could be the wave of the future. I mean, adventurous eating is really taking over in certain cities.
I got one word for you. Bizarre.
I guess X marks the spot.
The World Fair in Los Angeles is the ultimate food truck.
Basically got the kitchen downstairs and the eatery upstairs.
If you've never had beef tongue before, then this would be one of the places that you'd have to try it.
The World Fair in Los Angeles is the ultimate food truck. It's a bus where you have this global cuisine.
Basically got the kitchen downstairs and the eatery upstairs, so it's a complete restaurant on wheels.
Travis is the owner.
I love the idea of being able to take unique, amazing food to people.
Andy is the chef.
I'm not really used to dealing directly with our guests, but it's nice because then I can explain all the ingredients, and I think when people hear that, they get really excited.
The menu at World Fair is international. It's got totally global flavors, and it's just got a little bit of everything.
Their signature dish is something called bunny chow.
Bunny chow in South Africa was a street food dish, which is basically they took a loaf of bread, hollowed out the loaf of bread and filled it with either chicken curry, mutton curry, and the workers used to take the bread to the fields, and that was their lunchbox.
The different kinds of stews that you'll find inside of your bread bowl are chicken curry, braised short ribs, barbecued pulled pork, and it's all homemade.
What makes it so unique is what they're putting in the bunny chow.
The chicken curry is kind of unique. It's just I've taken all the curries that I've learned from around when I did my traveling and just done it in my own unique way.
We think about like a curry stew, kind of like yellow slop, you know, it's all really saucy. But what was so different about this is what I got my bunny chow and I could actually see chunks of chicken, and I could see the cashews, I could see flakes of coconut, I could see the peas, the vegetables were all there. Chicken curry, bunny chow was singing in my mouth.
The World Fair bus has to race to get a parking spot in the morning.
This is called Miracle Mile. A lot of food trucks like to park here just because there's so many office buildings, but we automatically get a ticket here.
They're always here and they're willing to get the tickets, yes.
We got a ticket from a meter maid for being on the street for over an hour.
But it's worth it because you get so much business in that 2.5-hour time crunch that, you know, it beats the ticket every day.
You know, the fact that we're doing this in a bus, we're just defining a whole new space. For us, it's a cost of doing business.
Every day, the World Fair Bus has sort of a daily special, you know, whatever Chef Andy feels like coming up with.
The chef's blackboard is our way of saying to Chef Andy, show us your skills, and basically it's restaurant dishes on the street. So we have a teriyaki flank steak.
Who doesn't love teriyaki flank steak? Who doesn't love teriyaki, period?
It's not just your ordinary teriyaki flank steak. It's been marinated, it's been sous vide, and then grilled and sliced.
Sous vide sounds like a really fancy chef word, but sous vide is a method of cooking where you vacuum pack an ingredient with flavor inside of it, and then you slowly cook it in a water bath.
This flank steak just melts in your mouth. It's so tender and so flavorful.
All that sugar in the teriyaki marinated and the meat starts to caramelize and you get that nice sort of burnt Asian barbecue flavor to the meat. I mean, truly spectacular.
If you have a little extra room, you should try the fried mac and cheese.
Everybody loves macaroni and cheese, but what's really unique about ours is we add truffle. We add truffle oil and truffle shavings.
It's rolled into little balls and dipped in Japanese breadcrumb and fried to crisp perfection. And then you bite into this crispy outside, and the oozing, cheesy macaroni truffle goodness just hits your palate, and you are in Unique Eats heaven.
The fried macaroni truffle balls were like the best ever that I've had anywhere.
It was like a flavor bomb that went off in my mouth. It was great.
What makes World Fair unique, we're taking different food, unique food, to people that have never had those options before for lunch.
This truck is amazing. I mean, it's like a crack house for food addicts.
The highest compliment is that people will come back to you and part with their hard-earned dollars to eat your food.
Anybody can eat this food, and it's super tasty.
I loved it. Definitely be back.
What we're trying to do here is build something really special. When we say taste the love, love the taste, we mean it.
Beef 7 Ways is off-the-chart expressions of beef that you can ever think about.
I don't think anyone was regretting the fact that we had more beef coming.
In New York City, David Chang has created these Asian-inspired restaurants all over the East Village. His latest restaurant is Ma Pesh.
He actually opened in the basement of the Chambers Hotel and installed one of his top lieutenants, Tin Ho, to be the chef.
The theme of the restaurant is a French-Vietnamese bistro. We try to combine the flavors of Southeast Asia with the technique and cooking of a French tradition.
No reservations are taken. All tables are given away on a first-come, first-served basis, no matter who you are.
They only take reservations for this amazing Beef 7 Ways dinner, and you have to register online for it. It's basically 7 courses of beef, and I mean a lot of beef.
So it's not like, you can just roll up in there and say, hey, I saw Don Sanchez on Unique Eats, and he told me to have Beef 7 Ways. I don't want you guys getting shut down. Do the right thing, make a reservation.
Beef 7 Ways is a traditional tasting menu in Vietnamese cuisine. When Ma Pesh advertised that they were going to be doing their upscale version of Beef 7 Ways, naturally, I wanted to try it.
We try to put a unique spin on our version of Beef 7 Ways.
One of the most unique things is that the chef, Tin Ho, sources his beef from all over America.
They really go to extreme lengths to find out the best farmers, the best people that cultivate beef, and then just handpick the farmers that they want to work with.
What's unique is in one singular meal, you can have beef from 6 different farmers and 6 different cuts of beef.
So when you order the beef tasting menu, the first course that you get is the beef tongue salad. It's so amazing. They brine the beef tongue for about 4 days, and then they slow poach it and braise it until it's meltingly tender. And they slice it thin, and it's served over a spinach salad that's been mixed with 2 different kinds of basil, Thai basil and opal basil.
Beef and basil is one of the classic combination in Chinese cooking, and we kind of reinterpreted that with this dish.
If you've never had beef tongue before, then this would be one of the places that you'd have to try it because it's so good.
A lot of people have a difficult time with it, but it's such a beautiful flavor, and the texture is just amazing.
I was surprised by the tongue. I was not interested in the tongue salad, but it was amazing.
For everybody that kind of like, shrieks at the idea of beef tongue, I got one word to say, a couple words to say to you: cold cuts. That's what it tastes like. Have you ever had bologna?
The next course, which I thought was delicious and totally unique, was the Wagyu beef.
Wagyu beef, which is like the most taken care of, pampered style of beef you've ever had.
Hello. Hello.
I mean, they massage this beef, for Christ's sake. They give it a specific diet. It's like a beef spa.
We season the Wagyu with salt, pepper, and we sear it on the flat top. The temperature of flat top is probably about 2,000 degrees. It's hot. Quick sear on all sides and slice. Then we finish it with some ginger scallion sauce, some radish, and cilantro.
It has so much fat marbleized through every cut that it melts in your mouth.
Next course that you're gonna get on the Beef 7 Ways menu is the Côte de Boeuf and their homemade lemongrass saucisson, their sausage.
That's one of the things I seek out. Beef 7 ways, and you throw Côte de Boeuf in there, I'm a happy, happy man.
Côte de Boeuf, which is essentially a really thick bone-in ribeye.
What is so unique about the Côte de Boeuf is the actual piece of meat.
What makes it unique is it's raised by a bunch of Amish farmers, and they have a very unique way of dry aging it, roughly around 28 days, 30 days before we get it.
It's marbled, it's delicious, and it's just served very simply with sausage. You put it in the lettuce wrap, and you dip it in your sauce, and it's carb-free heaven. It's really good.
The most unique thing about Ma Pêche and this Beef 7 Ways in particular is just the way that you're sort of using your hands and digging in, and it's a communal experience.
You may be thinking Beef 7 Ways is too much. There's no way you can eat that much beef. And you are left actually wanting more beef. I want more beef.
This beef shank is literally bigger than my head. This is when you're like, all right, I'm a carnivore.
To find out more about the restaurants in this episode, go to cookingchanneltv.com.
Beef 7 Ways is sort of the most off-the-chart expressions of beef that you can ever think about.
If you like beef, it's hard to go wrong.
What makes Ma Pêche unique is the Beef 7 Ways.
This is when you're like, all right, I'm a carnivore.
So we want to make sure that none of our guests leaves here hungry. So for the 5th and 6th course, braised beef shank with crab paste and chilies, and the oxtail with soy sauce, sherry vinegar, and apple juice.
I don't think anyone was regretting the fact that we had more beef coming. It's always nice to be surprised by beef.
When this platter drops in front of you, it's jaw-dropping. We all just started cracking up hysterically because this beef shank is literally, it was bigger than my head.
Talk about wow factor. It comes to you and it's just like Brontosaurus style, you're Flintstone eating. And it's about getting your hands dirty and just going for it.
If you've never had oxtails, or you don't know what oxtails are, they literally are the cow tail, which has a ton of tender meat around the bones.
You're surprised at how tender and delicious this oxtail is.
Oxtail is just this unbelievable expression of just richness.
So the final course, a beef consommé that they make by cooking down the short rib bones, it's literally like mainlining beef.
You know how you see that St. Bernard and it has that little thing under its neck and it's usually some sort of boost? No. Take that out and put that short rib consommé from Ma Pêche. That's what you need. That's what's gonna bring you back to life.
They only gave us like a little cup of it, and I'm like, can I please have a bowl?
This meal has been a crazy crazy culinary adventure. Obviously, we haven't ventured outside of meat, but...
The Ma Pesh beef 7 ways is so unique because you can't do it alone.
You know, I wouldn't advocate eating beef 7 ways 3 times a week, but if you like beef, to have beef 7 ways 1 or 2 times a year would be a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Energy, excitement, yeah.
Duck tongues.
That sounded totally weird. Holy sh**.
It's fancy.
Hello, Abraham.
We went to the best places in America to find the most unique eats.
You want a food fantasy? Head to the bazaar.
Your dish is dancing, it's smoking, it's dinner theater at the table. You want a food fantasy? See food as art at WD-50.
It is like your wildest dream. Colors, textures, things you couldn't even imagine on a plate.
You want a food fantasy? Sink into an armchair at the tea room.
Not only is the tea used in the cocktails, but it's also used in the menu.
2 thumbs up. Amazing.
These are unique eats. I think a food fantasy is the kinds of things that you wouldn't typically see in a regular restaurant.
Everything is about creativity and invention and artistry.
It's a whole new world of food. You're on another planet, if you will. The Bazaar is this unique tapas restaurant, and it's a Jose Andres restaurant that's at the SLS in Beverly Hills.
Talk about unique food. Jose Andres at Bazaar really delivers that.
Well, I love to do dishes that somehow shows you where food comes from and at the same time shows you where food is going to.
Bazaar is like Jose Andres got the keys to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and went crazy.
A unique thing about the Bazaar is the menu. One side you're gonna get traditional tapas, and the other side you're gonna get more modern tapas.
He does this take on olives, which classic Spanish thing. And he has a traditional olive that's stuffed with anchovy and red pepper, and it has olive oil and orange zest on it.
You put it in your mouth and you are like, wow, I am in heaven. But then I want to give you the other one, the avant-garde olive.
He takes the puree and juice of 2 different kinds of olives and blends it with calcium chloride.
By mixing in the calcium, it creates air bubbles. So we put it into the cryovac machine, and it sucks out all of the air, and you get this nice, pure olive juice.
He'll take this mixture and drop it into a solution of sodium alginate.
It's a derivative of seaweed. And so what happens is there's the natural chemical reaction that goes on between the olive juice, the calcium, and the algae.
And it basically solidifies. The liquid becomes a small orb the size of an olive.
He marinates it with olive oil and all these fresh herbs and lets that sit for a little while, and then you get it served on a spoon.
You put it in your mouth, and all of a sudden, you are experiencing something with a traditional flavor that you never experienced before.
It's a party in your mouth. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is something that nobody else can coin because it's totally Jose Andres. It's so unique.
One of the most traditional dishes in Spanish cooking, it's tortilla española, or Spanish omelette. Very simply, that is eggs, potatoes, and sometimes onions.
But the way Jose does it is you get this eggshell. Yeah, an eggshell on the table. You get this luscious, creamy egg.
You cook the eggs at 63 degrees for around 30 plus minutes. The egg yolk and the egg white coagulate at the same time. All the parts inside the egg have exactly the same texture.
The magic number is 63, which is 143 degrees Fahrenheit.
And that makes a very, very unique, tasty, genuine egg.
And then you get this potato foam inside. And on top of that, you're gonna get these potato croutons. You dip your spoon in and you take a bite, and you gotta do it with your eyes closed. And it's just so sexy and sensual. And who would have thought that eggs could actually be sexy?
Jose Andres has this larger-than-life personality. He's always laughing.
He's just nuts, and in the most lovable way.
More importantly, he's always just passionate about food.
We need to start making eating fun.
So good.
Some of Jose's best dishes, I think, are his interpretations on American classics. His take on a Philly cheesesteak is outrageous.
I got a very traditional street food in Philadelphia, and I kind of apply my techniques to develop a dish that honors the traditional, but at the same time moves forward.
He takes a pita bread dough and bakes it into the shape of a small baguette. It's totally hollow on the inside. From there, he drills a hole into it.
If you try to use a chopstick or a skewer or something, it's a big mess, and it's not as effective or efficient as this unique individual tool we have.
He takes a soft, delicious hot cheese foam and he'll spray the cheese into the hollow bread.
He uses a Wagyu beef, which is really similar to Kobe, a high-fat beef with great taste and texture.
And he'll garnish on top with caramelized onions.
Instead of just like having the julienne pieces of onions, we take them and we stew them down for a long time to where they become onion jam.
They blowtorch it just to make it all sort of sear and caramelize. And then the steak that you expected on the inside of the cheesesteak is on the outside. And salt, and
it's nuts, but it
yes.
tastes really good.
The bread is just uber crunchy, and that cheese is melty and salty, and the onions just add this sweetness to it. The beef is tender and juicy. It's just delicious.
If you haven't tried modern Spanish cuisine, this would be the first place I suggest going to eat. What he's doing here is he's making adult cotton candy.
I don't know very many places that can make carny food actually pretty classy.
You never know what you're gonna get at WD-50.
It is this punch of flavor.
Bazaar is kind of like Alice Wonderland meets restaurateur meets Hollywood. It is out there. It is really a unique place.
Another fun addition and what makes Bazaar so unique is that they have their own in-house cotton candy machine.
I don't know very many places that can make carny food actually pretty classy. Jose Andres has just masterminded it.
What he's doing here is he's making adult cotton candy. He'll roll the little lollipop of foie gras in just a little bit of vanilla cotton candy.
And you've got these corn nuts on top.
I could eat that every day.
Here's one of the most prestigious chefs in the world, and he's cooking with cotton candy. Now that is pretty unique.
The floating island is one of their signature desserts, and that involves the use of liquid nitrogen.
We are able to put a big ball of the coconut mousse in the liquid nitrogen, freezes in the outside, becomes very hard, but inside is gonna be very light, like a mousse.
Your dish is dancing, it's smoking, you know, it's sort of like a dinner theater at the table.
People sometimes say that coming to the bazaar is like a carnival. I love that.
You're gonna get this experience that's gonna open every single one of your senses. And that is a magical experience. It's so unique.
Food fantasy really fits perfect for WD-50.
Wiley Dufresne is the chef and owner of WD-50 in New York City. It is like your wildest dream. Colors, textures, flavors, things you've never seen before and couldn't even imagine on a plate.
Our style of cooking here is contemporary American, but we're trying to include humor and surprise as part of creating a unique experience here for the diner.
He wants to provoke you to think about food in a different way.
His curiosity about food and physics and chemistry is infectious. I mean, and I think of him more like a nutty professor.
You never know what you're gonna get at WD-50, which is what is so unique.
We take a classic leftover cold fried chicken and give it a twist and make it a unique way of experiencing a leftover.
It's not quite what you're imagining in your mind's eye. He's basically created a terrine of chicken and then shaped it into a square.
We take an enzyme that reacts with the proteins in the chicken and literally acts like a glue. It fuses it into one solid block. We then cook that block for about 12 hours. We cool that down.
And he takes the cold terrine and he batter fries it.
They go into this modified starch, which helps the batter and the coating stick to it, into an egg wash, standard egg wash, and then into our coating here, which is a mixture of corn flakes, cornstarch, baking soda, baking powder, flour.
It's got this crust on the outside, and then it's chilled. So it's like cold fried chicken, because who doesn't love cold fried chicken?
It's served alongside of what seems like mashed potatoes, but nothing is as it seems at WD-50.
There's a buttermilk ricotta. Buttermilk is often used to marinate fried chicken. You know, it's used in the...
So you can follow along with the way he's thinking.
It almost looks like chopped up egg whites, but really creamy.
We're gonna put some skin. We've taken the skins and we've rolled them up into long logs and poached them, and then frozen them, sliced them, and deep fried them.
And then it's topped with salty little nuggets of caviar.
The sauce on the side is Tabasco that's thickened with a little bit of starch and mixed with some honey.
It's all these ideas that you're familiar with, cold fried chicken with Tabasco, rearranged.
And they come together in such a nice way. Yeah. In the mouth.
This was far and away one of the most unique versions of fried chicken I have ever had. 2 thumbs up. Amazing.
It's this beautiful, yellow, sunshiny, quote-unquote, ravioli.
How the hell did you do that? The tea room at the H-Wood pays homage to the Prohibition era.
That Prohibition piña was one of the best drinks I've had probably ever.
Wiley Dufresne is the most creative chef in New York City right now.
He's always striving to do some sort of new technique or put something on the plate where the diner is going to sit and say, how the hell did you do that?
It's more, I think, our approach that makes dining here unique.
The meals that I've had at WD-50 are some of the best meals that I've ever eaten anywhere.
Meals there are memorable because the combinations are things you've never had together.
One of the dishes that made me really curious on how he achieved it was his scrambled egg ravioli.
It almost looks like an omelet in a way. You could call it a square omelet if you like, but ravioli sounds a little bit, I think, a little bit nicer.
It's this beautiful, yellow, sunshiny square, quote-unquote, ravioli.
This is just scrambled eggs and cream cheese. We're dipping them in a little egg yolk here. And what's gonna happen is as this thing bobs in the water, the heat of the water is gonna cause the egg proteins to set and form a skin or a ravioli. And inside will be the nice creamy egg.
And it's served with this little cylinder of avocado puree that's been bruleed and charred.
There's crunchy potatoes, which are tiny, like the size of a BB.
Yeah, good one.
And then we have our kindai kampachi. This is a nice Japanese fish that we get flown into us fresh each week.
When the plate lands in front of you, you may see squares, triangles, all these crazy geometric shapes and colors. And you're not sure what you're eating.
And then you take the bite of that and you combine it with the richness of the fish and the creaminess of the avocado, and it's just like this fat bomb in your mouth that is light and delicious.
The explosions that happen when you bite into these little nuggets of scientific culinary innovation is so unique.
Only a handful of people in this country can do what Wiley does.
The unique experience of dining here is the discovery process from the moment you walk in the door to the moment you leave.
It is so much fun and so unique to eat an entire meal there. You will be blown away.
If you want a total fantasy, the tea room at H Wood in Los Angeles has a unique underground tea room.
Cheers.
Samir Gupta is known as the tea chef.
Basically pays homage to the Prohibition era back in the 1920s.
H Wood is hidden. You walk through a door that says, do not enter, emergency exit only.
If you're lucky enough to get into the tea room, they have cocktails called Prohibition teas.
Serving Prohibition teas is reminiscent of the way some speakeasies back in the day would serve alcohol, out of teapots.
Tea and cocktails is something that's uniquely H Wood tea. It's something that we came up with, and we take our tea cocktails very seriously here. Our Prohibition Piña is what I call my home run drink.
Prohibition Pina, a blend of coconut chai, pineapple juice, and simple syrup.
And for the alcohol, we use a coconut vodka.
It's like a pina colada, only way better, because there's so many layers of flavor in a chai. The average chai has at least a dozen different ingredients in it.
It's like an amazing blend. You feel good afterwards.
I was blown away. I mean, that Prohibition Piña was one of the best drinks I've had probably ever.
Not only is the tea used in the cocktails, but it's also used in the menu.
Some of the unique foods you'll find there are delicious heirloom tea smoked tomatoes.
The heirloom tomato dish is smoked with Tsar Alexander and Lapsang Souchong teas.
And Lapsang tea has this really almost salty punch in your face, like smoke.
I'm gonna add a little fennel. Fennel is very strong. The finer you do it, a little water and a little lemon juice will keep the color and also kind of take away a little bit of that bite.
He matches these tomatoes with goat cheese fondue and topped with tarragon and pistachio dust. Sounds kind of unique.
When you taste it, it will have a completely unique flavor, unlike any other tomato that you've ever had.
The main flavor line just made me think, oh, this is like a BLT without the bacon. It's good.
Tea is also used in the cured salmon.
It's like the perfect bite. It's delicious.
If you have unique eats in your town, tell us about it at cookingchanneltv.com.
The tea room at the H Wood is not just a bar, it's a lounge that serves food.
There's an infinite variety of teas. Anything that you would use an herb for, you can use a tea blend for to create uniquely tea-based food. The rabbit loin is paired with a tea vinaigrette. The tea vinaigrette is prepared with the mate carnival. It's a fun flavoring, more on the smokier side again, which fuses wonderfully with the vinaigrette sauce.
And it was served over this sort of melange of spring vegetables. I had morels, I had favas, I had baby carrots. The lemon verbena vinaigrette just lightened everything up and just gave it a new breath of fresh air.
Tea is also used in the cured salmon.
We did a green tea with jasmine and rose and hibiscus. The salmon pairs wonderfully with floral essences, and the tea helps fuse that floral flavor in the salmon.
After he cured it, he chopped up the salmon and he serves it with creme fraiche and caviar and this delicious cone.
I know a lot of people like to put only a little bit of caviar, but I believe don't be cheap. Make sure that you put a nice bunch of caviar on top. Let's get some salt. Che bella.
Beautiful.
And I mean, it's like the perfect bite, and you can actually taste the sort of fruitiness of the hibiscus and that gentle aroma of the chamomile. You could totally taste them in this smoked salmon. It was delicious.
When you walk into the tea room, you absolutely are infused with the essence and the smell of tea, of flowers, of all of our other ingredients. It's what people have referred to as the best smelling place in Los Angeles.
For them to introduce that unique culture to Los Angeles, I mean, we've never seen anything like that out here.
You getting this?
I loved it.
So,
Sometimes I yell at my food, not always. Okay.
3.
You want to try some?
We went to the best places in America to find the most unique eats.
You want Americana? Grab a burger at Kuma's Corner.
It is the most delicious, crazy, unique burger. You want Americana? Belly up to the table at Fete Sao Barbecue.
I'm a barbecue junkie. It's awesome.
You want Americana? Dive into sweet nostalgia at the Nickel Diner.
Who doesn't love fried dough and sugar?
You want Americana? Let your imagination run wild at Cold Stone Creamery.
Now this is a unique ice cream.
These are unique eats. Hamburgers are quintessential American food, aren't they? I mean, everybody loves them.
Just like pie would be, a hot dog. Hamburgers are everywhere in America, in every corner of the country. And I think when people see a hamburger, they instantly think of something that's familiar and something that's comfortable.
Kuma's Corner is this sort of badass, divey bar in North Chicago that serves awesome burgers.
It's one of the most unique operations that I've ever seen.
It's tattoos, it's piercings, it's play loud music, they love metal there. So you walk into the place and instantly you're like, oh, this is a badass place that has evolved into this massive, massive burger bar.
There's this lovely chef, Amalia. She's just rocking it. She's got the attitude, the look, the tats, and she's just killing it with the burgers.
It's kind of a wonderland where meat and music kind of meld.
They have 22 different burgers on the menu. I've had maybe 12 of them. What makes Kuma's Corner so unique is that all of their burgers are named after heavy metal bands. It's total rock and roll, total metal.
They all have names like Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Led Zeppelin, and they have wild, unique toppings that fit each.
One of their signature burgers is called the Lair of the Minotaur,
which has pancetta instead of bacon, which is genius and unique. It has melted brie, which just melts over in this creamy, almost sauce-like texture, and bourbon poached pears to add this kind of sweetness.
It sounds a little bougie, but you put it on top of that char-grilled smoky burger, and it all comes together to make your palate go, wow.
The buns we use at Kuma's Corner are really unique.
They're not using, you know, soft brioche bun or like a potato bun. They're making pretzel bread.
It's really soft and delicate in the inside, but it's got a really nice dark brown crust on the outside.
And what's so great about it is that the dough just soaks up all those juices. Everything that you're gonna put on this burger, like the pretzel bread, is gonna hold it. It's not gonna fall apart in your hands.
There's the plague bringer. If you eat that burger, there's enough cooked garlic and raw garlic on it to prevent the plague if it ever comes around your house.
There's roasted garlic mayo and some fresh garlic on there, so right away you're in vampire territory.
Yes. So then on top, our house-made hot sauce and 2 slices of pepper jack cheese.
It's this sort of like spicy, garlicky burger. I don't know what kind of plague it's gonna bring, but I'm sure you'll find out afterwards.
We're gonna garnish with some jalapenos and fresh tortilla chips.
When you bite into it, not only do you get the juicy burger and the bun and that little hit from the jalapenos, but a big crunch from those tortilla strips as well.
It is the most crazy, unique, in-your-face burger.
The Slayer burger, everybody refers to as everything but the kitchen sink.
It's very nice. It's a light appetizer.
They take andouille sausage and they saute it with onions, cherry peppers, chili.
So now we're gonna deglaze a little light beer. That gets all the nice brown bits on the bottom.
And then they pile all this on top of this burger, which is sitting on top of French fries.
The waffle fries are great because you can dip them in the sauce. They're really, really great for the Slayer. They hold all the juices.
And then they put jack cheese all over it and put it under the broiler with a good dose of anger. And it comes out just melty, hot, delicious, and it's just this mound of like meat and cheese and goodness.
It's about as unique gets.
They're not messing around here. They definitely like the bold flavor, the bold statement.
When you first walk in the door, it can be a little intimidating, the loud music, the rush of people. But once you sit down, you feel like you're at home. And that's one of the most unique things about Kuma's Corner.
There are many people who put it at the top of their list. And the burgers that I had there, I really can't argue with them. If it's not the best, I would like to know whose is.
Fetisau is channeling Central Texas barbecue mojo.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
One of the things that makes a Nickel Diner so unique is their focus on traditional American sweets. Barbecue is one of the great American foods because it's a communal food.
Rich, poor, black, white, everyone in this country eats barbecue.
I'm a barbecue junkie. Yeah, I would rather pull up my sleeves and settle down to a barbecue meal because you have all those great contrasts of crunchy, sweet, hot, soft. It's just fantastic.
Fetisau is a barbecue haven in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Fetisau means fat pig in German, and it's a put down.
Hopefully not of his customers.
Well,
there's really not a meat we won't try barbecuing. Beef, pork, lamb. The most unique cuts of meat, though, we do are probably pig's tail, beef cheek, pork cheek. Definitely things you never see at barbecue places.
The key to what makes Fetisau barbecue so unique is its dry rub.
Fetisau is channeling Central Texas barbecue mojo, which means dry rubbed
and without sauce.
No sauce. A dry rub is a seasoning that you put over your meat before it goes in the smoker. At Fetisau, it's salt, pepper, brown sugar. There's cinnamon, cayenne, and cumin.
Ground cumin, there's something really American about it. It gives this great southwestern touch to the dry rub and the overall flavor of the barbecue.
What makes it super unique is ground espresso.
It balances that sweetness with some roastiness, with some bitterness, and really just creates something kind of interesting that nobody can exactly put their finger on.
This coffee thing, you kind of say like, what? But there's something about salty meat and grease and coffee.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
The most unique thing we do on a daily basis, I would say, is pork belly, which is essentially bacon. And you definitely don't see that in barbecue places, though I'm not quite sure why, because it is just the perfect piece of meat for barbecue.
There are no words to describe it. It's meaty, it's delicious, it's smoky, it's fatty.
Now we're serving it in pretty thick pieces, and we're not frying it up in a frying pan, but it's essentially bacon, barbecued belly.
And one of the most amazing things is this Southern Pride smoker. And it can cook up to 500 pounds of meat at a time.
It all goes into the same smoker. We smoke it about 220 degrees. Now, something like this pork belly will cook in about 5 hours, but a denser piece of meat will take anywhere from 14 to 18 hours. There's nothing like the perfume of smoked meat to, get people excited to eat.
You can smell it a few blocks away.
I don't know what his neighbors think, but I think they're lucky.
When those 8 to 12 hours are done and your meat is ready, it's just this, you know, incredible experience.
Caramelize the meat, liquidize the fat, render a lot off, and still get all of that incredible, unctuous, fatty, delicious roll around. I mean, it's awesome.
Joe Carroll grew up in Jersey. He's not a professional chef, just a lover of barbecue.
I just felt, you know, having been into barbecue for so long, that nobody was really nailing it the way I thought it should be in New York City. So sometime in the mid-90s, even though I was living in Manhattan, I decided I was going to buy a bullet smoker and teach myself how to barbecue, how to smoke meat. And I just really fell in love with it. Fête de Sau is really about letting the barbecue shine through.
What's unique about Fête de Sau is that it's much more like a butcher.
Everything is sold by weight. It's sort of like a deli counter, and there's a meat cutter there. He'll slice everything up for you.
We do everything by the pound. You can get 1/8 of a pound, 1/4 of a pound. Some people come in and get 2 pounds.
Or 5 pounds if you're really hungry.
And then they just pick it up and drop it on a sheet pan that's covered with butcher paper. That's your plate. It's your tray.
You just feel like this carnivore. You basically are eating with your hands.
I absolutely believe 100% that barbecue should be eaten with your hands and nothing but your hands.
At my mother-in-law's house, I want to impress with my table manners, but not when I'm eating barbecue.
That's part of the barbecue experience, is just grabbing it with your hands and kind of tearing the meat off and eating it.
You stain a lot of shirts, I can tell you that.
When you're sitting eating these meats, you're sitting on a picnic table, and the whole feel feels unique, American, and just right at home.
You know, barbecue is one of those things, like hamburgers or pizza or hot dogs, where pretty much appeals to everyone.
It is worth a trip to Fête de Sau, and it is worth feeling like a fat pig.
The donuts at Nickel Diner are so unique.
It is just a bite of heaven. It's so good.
Cold Stone Creamery is dessert pornography.
We love diners because they're truly Americana.
From an ice cream sundae to a roast beef dinner, a diner symbolizes America because it gives you all the freedom to have anything you want, whenever you want.
The Nickel Diner is a diner in downtown Los Angeles. Monica May is the chef owner.
It's a diner with great breakfast egg dishes, a fantastic lunch menu, and delicious dinners.
But one of the things that makes the Nickel Diner so unique is their focus on traditional American sweets. They have cream-filled chocolate cupcakes.
As a child, I loved them. I loved unwrapping the foil and taking them out of my lunchbox. Here we do them with devil's food.
The cake itself is so unique because instead of just a traditional cake, they're actually adding mayonnaise to the batter. If you think about what mayonnaise is, it's eggs and oil. It's a great addition to cake.
I find it gives it a lot of moisture and a lot of really good flavor.
And they take this cake and they layer it with the cream filling, and then glaze it in a chocolate ganache, and then pipe 5 cent on top. So it looks like your traditional store-bought chocolate glazed cake, only it's better. Way tastier.
Everybody grew up with breakfast toast or pastries. They created their own homemade version, which I think is absolutely brilliant.
What makes the Nickel Diner's toaster pastries so unique is that they're using all fresh ingredients. They make the dough by hand.
It's a pâte brisée, which is like a soft, sweet pie dough. It's got egg in it, a little bit of sugar, a lot of butter.
They have their own fresh jam that they make, and this is what it's filled with. So instead of, you know, the store-bought toaster pastry that you get that just tastes like just sugar, like you can actually taste the fruit, and they're chunks of fruit. So it's super, super unique.
Each of these get individually glazed. It's powdered sugar, a little bit of milk, a little bit of vanilla.
and sprinkled with dehydrated strawberries for tartness.
It has that like pow in your face, like boom, strawberries.
And taking that first bite is like flashbacks of me with my backpack in my binder in 5th grade. But I'm an adult now, and it's 10 times better.
Nickel Diner is named because we are on Main and 5th Street in downtown Los Angeles, and 5th Street is known as the Nickel.
The Nickel Diner was an abandoned restaurant. When they actually went in to redo the interior and they started stripping the paint off the walls, there was all this nostalgic artwork.
So what you're looking at here are the old bones of what Los Angeles used to look like back in the 1940s.
The donuts at Nickel Diner are so unique.
Well, who doesn't love fried dough and sugar?
They have this world-famous maple glazed brioche bacon donut.
We're sitting around talking about how great it was when your French toast and your bacon hit on a plate. And it was like Yahtzee. That would make a great donut.
Rather than use a basic donut dough, they're using brioche dough, which has a ton of butter in it. And brioche dough actually fries up pretty well.
They're fabulous. Look how beautiful they are.
And then they make this glaze using maple syrup and powdered sugar.
And you can see that each one has to be kind of dipped and manipulated, massaged into being a beautiful donut.
And then instead of sprinkles, you think of a big, crunchy handful of bacon thrown on top.
We take all of our great Applewood bacon that we've cooked off and crumbed and just dip it.
When you first bite into the donut, it's a hit of the sweet and then the crunch and the savory. And the maple is kind of infused into the brioche.
It is just a bite of heaven. It's so good.
Nickel Diner has this great Americana feel where it is classic. There's always something a little bit special.
What makes the Nickel unique is that there's a sense of familiarity. There's definitely a lot of love. So you come here and you sort of feel like coming home.
The unique thing about Cold Stone Creamery is their no melt ice cream.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Ice cream is such a beloved dessert because it is so soul satisfying.
I need an ice cream right now. Hello, ice cream.
What is so unique about Cold Stone Creamery is that they've taken the idea of ice cream and elevated it to the point where they're like, okay, we're gonna give you every flavor you want.
They've got some creative elves in the head office. Ray, the tastemaker at Cold Stone, is like the mad scientist behind all these loopy flavors.
Some of them include chocolate devotion, banana caramel crunch, cheesecake fantasy, and then there is what's called apple pie a la Cold Stone.
The way I come up with new ice cream is I look at classic desserts and see how I can translate them into ice cream.
The unique thing about Cold Stone Creamery is their no melt ice cream.
The secret behind their no melt ice cream is the instant pudding mix.
Pudding normally has a different texture than ice cream, and so when you combine the two, it will prevent the ice cream from melting and dripping. It sort of looks like soft serve right now, but we're gonna put it through our special freezing process. It's gonna go into the blast freezer at -20 degrees for about 4 hours to make it into ice cream, to finish it off.
And go ahead, try it, test it, let it sit. And before you know it, it's pudding, but it's never gonna melt.
Now this is a unique ice cream.
The reason why they call it Cold Stone Creamery is because they take the ice cream and they spread it out and they add the mix-ins and they work it all together on an actual cold stone. You'll mix in whatever you want. You want gummy bears? Great. You want peanut butter candies? Great. You want toffee bits, almonds, coconut?
I mean, there's like 75 things in the bin there. That's unique.
I love cookies and cream. My favorite.
It's a guilty pleasure. Plus, if you order the really, really, really large one in the really, really, really big cone, it's enough ice cream to feed a family of 6.
What really makes Cold Stone unique is the choices. You can make ice cream your way.
I think we need to cut to the chase. Cold Stone Creamery is dessert pornography. It's all about fantasy worlds where you create your own dessert.
And really come out with a fantastic tasting ice cream that you can't get anywhere else but Cold Stone Creamery. Here we go.
So, hold on one second. Oh, sorry.
Can I start over on that one?
Sorry.
I don't know. That's...
Get up, get up, get up.